Good morning, this is Airpost Creations 2021. This is my weekend reading, and today I do not use any card deck for my reading. It is rather about a legend or the creation story of ancient Vietnam. And first, there is to note that the majority of the Vietnamese people, they do not follow any organized religion. They have a mix of many different religions that over time was blended and merged together. And such a tradition is also called a syncretic tradition. In Vietnam, it is called Tam Giao, or the three teachings. So the syncretic tradition is a blending and emerging of different religions and of different philosophies into one single system of a belief. Buddhism, Confucianism, Taoism, and even Christianity, they unite here and also bring animism, which is animal worship, into this mix. There are 4 sacred animals in Vietnam. They are all my favorite animals as well. There is the dragon, there is the unicorn, there is the tortoise, and finally there is the phoenix. There is also the indigenous syncretic religion, which is called Cao or Caodaism. It brings together Taoism, Confucianism, Buddhism, and Catholicism. Another indigenous religion is called Hoa Hoa, and this one has strong influences from Buddhism and from Taoism. The Vietnamese creation story is a very pretty one, I find, and it starts with the immortal bond between a dragon king and a beautiful fairy queen. And as soon as they met, then they fell deeply in love with each other, and soon after they were married. He was a sea dragon and she was a mountain fairy, so their marriage brought together the sea life and the mountain life. In some accounts of the creation story, the fairy was also a snow fairy belonging to the mighty mountains, which have snow on top of them. And in other accounts of the creation story, the fairy called Oko was a fairy princess who eventually returned to the mountains where her true home was. The couple over time separated, but they continued to stay in contact with one another and showing kindness and compassion to each other. There is even a song which is summarizing the story of the dragon and the fairy, and the song is the story of some ancient telling. It says that under the blue sky were only the two, namely Lac Long Quan, the dragon, and Ukko, the princess fairy. And when they met, then they met here together on the earth. People began to laugh, and 100 eggs, they were born. 50 went eventually up the mountains, and 50 they stayed on earth and went down to the deep sea. The ocean bears the hand of the father dragon, while the mountains bears the hand of the mother fairy. And so on goes the song. In the creation story here comes from an egg sac or an egg pouch. The children, they were carried on by being 100 eggs, and the children grew up into adults quickly. All the children, they had the charm of a fairy and the strong will of a dragon. So when the dragon and the fairy eventually separated in the end, it was because of feeling homesick. Both wished to be in their native lands, the dragon on the shorelines and the oceans, and she, the fairy, in the highlands and the mountains. Natural opposites are found in myths around the world to bring a needed balance to our lives and also a balance to the world as a whole. The traditional sense of the yin and the yang, derived from the Chinese philosophy, was spreading out into many neighboring mythologies. There is Confucianism, which is based on a patriarchal society and is a part of a mix of different belief systems. And astonishingly, the Vietnamese creation story is making the dragon and the fairy equals. One is never greater than the other or is more dominant. So Oko, the fairy mother, she is not seen as a silent and a helpless female. Water is in the creation stories seen as a void first, from which creation is made by rising up, like the waves are rising up in the oceans. So Lac Long Quan, the Dragon King, he is associated here in this story with water and the oceans. Lac Long Quan and Oko, his wife, she is associated with the mountains and with fire. This is very different from any usual binary depiction of females being water and males being fire. So even with the yin and the yang energies, the two have the elements from both sides, and there is no clear way assigning to the feminine dark water side or to the masculine light the fire side. It is said that the dragon father Lac Long Quan had an extraordinary strength and supreme intelligence, and of course he had a strong fascination for the ocean. He spent much time there at the shoreline, enjoying the waves coming in and going out, and he knew about all sea creatures having their home in the oceans. After the wedding to the beautiful princess, fairy queen Oko, who was a Chinese immortal. She then gave birth to a pouch which was filled with 100 eggs, from which sprang 100 sons. When the couple separated, they divided the children, so 50 stayed with the dragon father, who ruled over the oceans and the shorelines, and 50 went with the fairy mother to rule the highlands and the mountains. The 50 children living at the coastline, they were taught by the dragon father all the skills of fishing and also the art of tattoos to scare off dangerous sea creatures while they went diving and hunting for food in the deep oceans. So the dragon also taught his 50 sons to plant rice and how to cook the rice in bamboo tubes. The fairy mother, Oko, she taught her 50 sons how to govern the highlands in the mountains. She taught them to live and to survive in the jungles and on the mountains, and how to breed animals and to cultivate the land in order to grow food. So they learned to cultivate the land, the soil for growing vegetables, and even fruit trees. They also learned to build houses which were raised on bamboo stilts so that no wild animals could harm them while sleeping at night. And even though the dragon father and the fairy mother lived and raised their children at different places, they made a promise to always look after each other in times of need, even though they lived apart. The 100 children are believed to be the ancient ancestors of Vietnam, and still today the Vietnamese people, they call themselves the children of the dragon and of the fairy, referring to Lac Long Quan's lineage from the dragons and Oko's clan of fairies from the highlands. And therefore, whichever part of the country one is coming from, ocean or mountain, he or she, they belong to either the dragons or the fairies. So that was the creation story of ancient Vietnam. I hope you liked it. I liked it rereading it again and now sharing it here with you all. I wish you all a beautiful Sunday. I thank you all for listening. I shall be back tomorrow with my weekly Shaman Oracle readings, and maybe I see you then. That would be nice. I'm sending out lots of love. You all take care, and goodbye.